Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we're bringing you another Twilight Princess Any Percent tournament match, WolfDash 2. It's winners bracket round 4, Chaotic Ace versus Kejsmaster, and I'm joined today on commentary by Fino and Bruggles. And how you doing today, gentlemen?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing good.
And I think I'm going to set them off. So give me a second and we'll have a quick countdown.
All right.
So I will leave you to it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Alrighty. Good luck to Ace and Adi.
Both very, very good players. Well into sub 3. So
yeah, their PDs are only like 20 seconds apart right now, so this hopefully will be a pretty good race.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see some good runs from both of them. And we're off.
Alrighty.
Alright, so the run starts off pretty interestingly. First thing we're going to do, we're not going to go get Epona. We are going to use a rock off to the side to clip through a gate and then do a trick called Back in Time. So, I don't know if you want to explain that.
Yeah, so basically what Ace and I are getting ready to do is fall into the void here and then reset the game at the same time. And what that's going to trigger is a respawn onto the title screen map. And we want to do this mainly for the Epona flag we get out of it. Also, there's other benefits too, but the big one is the Epona flag. That lets us get the Iron Boots early, which saves a bunch of time. It also is going to let us skip Ord on Day 1 and 2. And we can see there that they both got it. Good job.
Yeah, they also both got pretty lucky on Gate Clip. Gate Clip can kind of troll you sometimes. You can sort of get it consistently, but there is still some RNG. So definitely good luck from both of them. There's a lot of RNG. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, so what they did on the title screen there is they jumped into the void to get the title screen off the screen. That way they can actually pause. If they didn't do that, when you hit start, it just like loads into the file select. They want to pause so they can save warp, and then the save warp is actually going to take them back to South Faron so that they can continue heading towards Wolf. You can see they both got the lantern.
Yeah, and honestly, there's just so much RNG in like the first, I'd say like half hour of the run.
Yeah.
That can desync players like pretty quickly. So hopefully they can get good luck or at least play around whatever luck.
Yeah, there's like little bits of RNG here and there that can like cost you a couple seconds. Like the Baba right here, when they're rolling through the woods, can sometimes pop up and hit you and stop you. We'll see later on with Bo that it can be a big RNG factor. It's really kind of unfortunate that this run starts with a whole bunch of RNG, but after about like Barrel said, after about the first 30 minutes though, it gets quite a bit better.
It's good for us, I guess, that all the RNG is right at the start of the run when going for like personal best attempts, but for a race, it's not the greatest. So I guess just while we're going through here, maybe like little bits of information. German is the fastest language for any percent because of just some text box differences. I would actually, I believe for a lot of the text boxes, German is actually slower, but there are just a couple, like the lantern and the bomb bag, that really just like make up all of the time.
Yeah.
and it ends up being 5 seconds faster than English. But it's actually really nice that English like isn't that slow, because it definitely makes it like more accessible for a lot of people to get into speedrunning this game.
Yep. Yeah, Audie is playing on the German version, but Ace is actually playing on the English version. I think it's because he doesn't have the PAL version. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, PAL would be for German.
Yeah, PAL is German, yeah.
Japanese is actually the slowest language, because Japanese has a certain glitch that's patched that we can get into later, but it loses about 15 minutes. So even though the text is faster, it just doesn't save enough time.
Yep. And here we get to see goats. Goats aren't really RNG, but they are very picky about where you whoop and what angle opponent is facing with how they actually go. So it's very hard to control them and always get a consistent time. So we might see anything from like a 18 to a 33 here on seconds, depending on how good the goats are. Typically, like, as long as you're like between 20 and 25, it's like a decent start. So hopefully they will both get decent times. Body pulling out of 21 there, not bad.
I believe the goats have like a little bit of RNG. Like you said, like the sensitivity from like where you whoop with Epona, that can vary somewhat.
Ooh, Ace got trolled by a goat there.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
And looks like he's going to troll him very hard.
It's so annoying when like the goats like are right up against the barn and they just like run past the door, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So Audie's gonna take a bit of a lead here, but he could just as easily lose that on Bo here. So Bo is basically RNG hell. It's just rock, paper, scissors with mashing. And you have to mash like 12 times a second. So yeah, you can sometimes just get really, really, really unlucky and just kills your run.
Yeah, ideally here you go for a slap, and then if you can mash really fast after the slap, you can actually push him out in one go. Unfortunately, for slap to win, he has to do a sidestep or not move, which is his least likely move to do. So it makes it kind of a gamble. Like if you wanted to go really fast, you have to hope you get lucky and actually get it. But it doesn't always happen.
Two phases are slightly different. I believe on the first one, he can either do... He has 4 things. Nothing, dodge, slap, or grab. And then on the second one, he can't do nothing.
Yeah.
So it seems like Kejs got pretty decent luck.
Yeah, sub 730 Iron Boots is pretty good.
And Ace also got pretty decent luck. Just lost some time on goats from before.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Very lucky.
Honestly, still not really that bad of a time for Ace, even though he lost like 20 plus seconds on goats. Pretty nice.
Yeah, and there will be another somewhat RNG bit coming up in a couple minutes. With probably the most infamous trick in all of Twilight Princess, but we can get to that when it comes up.
Ace and Audie both saving there after Bo. We'll kind of be revisiting that in a little bit, but that save will be used to do a trick about half an hour in.
So this segment here, just in the sewers, and the rooftops, there's not really a whole lot of RNG. Nice, Kejsmaster got box break. It's possible to just break that box before you're released from the chain. But yeah, there's not really that much RNG. It's pretty laid back. There are a couple first frame inputs that we can do after like some text boxes, and after skipping cutscenes and stuff like that. Nice, Ace also got it. And yeah, just some small time savers here and there. Nothing really too major.
A lot of the movement in this area is highly optimized, since there's not really any tricks or anything you're doing. So it's just more about like, how do I get the maximum amount of speed out of all my dashes for what I'm doing when hopping off certain ledges and things like that. A technique you'll see used quite a lot throughout the run that is about to get used is called dash cancel. And that's where you actually dash, and then right after your dash, you press B, and that causes WolfLink to do a B attack, and then that causes your dash to basically be reloaded immediately. It's advantageous to use in certain areas. Basically, when you need to, like dash and then go off a ledge immediately, or in some areas where you're really slow as Wolf, like Harrow Castle.
Yeah, Castletown.
Near Castletown, yeah.
Yeah, and both of these runners will be doing the fastest route. So I think we'll only be going to Castletown once or twice. Twice. The second, like once being in Twilight, and the second time like at the very end of the game. Yeah.
Yes. Well, once during Midness, that's what I would do.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. But essentially, so there are multiple routes for this game. There's a couple of them I could get into, but I just want to focus on the difference between Zora armor and no Zora armor. So no Zora armor is the fastest route. Zora armor only loses about 20 seconds, but is more consistent. So if you have trouble with if you don't like dealing with RNG, or maybe you have trouble with Morpheal, then you'd want to run Zora armor. But otherwise, you can run this route. So in this route, we're going to get bombs, and we're going to use bombs to refill our air underwater, which we can talk more about when we get there, which will be quite a while. But yeah, and the Zora armor route just skips bombs entirely and replaces a lot of strats with the ball and chain instead.
I'm getting ready to see Adi do the sword and shield skip, which is a very infamous trick. Basically, he's going to lure the Bublin in this area over to the Faron Twilight entrance. And normally, Minna stops you, because you're supposed to get the Ordon Sword and Shield at this point. But you can actually use that Bublin, lure him over, and then use him to do something called a long jump attack to actually get into the trigger that will bring you into the Faron Twilight early.
Yeah, and actually, in this state of the game, because of the back in time that we did at the start of the run, we actually, even if we wanted to, we couldn't go get the sword and shield. So this trick is required for this route, and it's such a difficult trick. It's position precise, like the jump attacks when you're attacking the Bublin are precise. It's just really precise in every aspect, and so it just makes it really, really difficult. And I would imagine both of these players get it first try. They're both very, very consistent. Yes.
Got it. Nice.
Very, very nice.
It is a huge time loss to miss because you can only hit the Boblin one time and still get the long jump attack. So if you hit him and miss it, you have to jump off the bridge and bring it back over again.
Yeah, because the Boblin in the Twilight Princess community, we've named him Hugo. Hugo has to be alive for the trick to work, because after you jump attack him once, you have to be able to target him to get the long jump attack. Nice. Ace got it first try. Very, very nice. But yeah, he has to be alive, or you can't get the long jump attack. So if you fail, you have to jump off the bridge, and it loses about like a minute and a half, something like that. I mean, depending on how long it took you to fail and a couple things, but yeah, it's definitely something that you want to practice.
And so now they are both in the Fair on Twilight. And so if you're familiar with this game, you probably know that the Twilights have tiers that you have to collect to clear the Twilights, which the runners will be doing that, but they are actually not going to clear this Twilight at all, because it's possible to skip it completely. So you'll notice they didn't go, Adi didn't go get the vessel or anything like that. He's running straight to the mist area through the cave. He's going to be getting ready to do a pretty big trick that's going to break open the whole run.
Yeah, Ace, you better have practiced pillar clip after what happened.
I missed it. Did you fail it a bunch in a previous race or something?
Yeah, in my race against him, it was way closer than it should have been, because Ace just kept failing pillar clip over and over and over, and I unfortunately still lost, but but the point is, Ace, don't do that again. That was not good. Yeah, that was definitely not a good day for Ace. He was sleep deprived and sick and very rusty, so I hope he's feeling better now. Alright, so Case is going to use the Shadow Beast here. Yes, first try. Very nice. So you can use the Shadow Beast there to do what's called a super jump, which is kind of similar to a long jump attack, just with Midna's B charge, but essentially when the Shadow Beast does a specific attack, we can use the Midna charge to jump attack at the Shadow Beast's hand, and we can get enough height to actually make it out of bounds, and then we can just run over to the Sacred Grove, where we can chase Skull Kid around and then get the Master Sword early, which is gonna completely open up the game, because normally you're not supposed to be able to transform or warp before certain points, and we're gonna be able to do all sorts of fun stuff.
And nice, yeah, they both got Sword and Shield Skip and EMS first try. Those are always the big deciders in races. A lot of times you'll see runners both get Sword and Shield Skip, and then one will fail EMS 4 times, and then the gap between the two runners just expands to a minute and a half. So it's cool to see that they both got it.
Yeah, EMS is also another bit of RNG. So Hugo, I don't know if I really talked about it, but Hugo can be RNG, with how often he attacks you, and if he's pushing into you at all, just him moving around in general can be very annoying to deal with. And the Shadow Beast attack, it has, I believe, is it 2 or 3 attacks?
There's just 2. Yeah.
There's just 2. I know. There's there's one that's over the head and one that's sort of a side swing. We want the side swing. I feel like I heard Jim talking about a faster like there's like 2 versions of the over the head one. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering wrong.
So there's 2 different animations, and then the speed at which they're done can vary a little bit. You can actually technically get you can get EMS off of both of them, but the overhead one is much harder to do.
Yeah.
So a lot of this right now is just chasing Skull Kid through Sacred Grove to get to the Master Sword.
Yeah, the Master Sword is gonna let us like transform in the Twilight, which is gonna help us with a couple things. And being able to transform in the Twilight is also in combination with being able to get the Iron Boots early is going to help with a trick. After getting Boomerang, specifically Pillar Clip, the one that hopefully Ace will not fail this time. And you may notice that just randomly, the 2 runners are collecting rupees here and there, and that's because later in the run, when we have to get to City in the Sky, we need a total of 300 rupees. So we just collect a bunch throughout the run. We'll be able to get a lot in Arbiters Grounds, and there are 2 orange rupees, which are worth 100 in Snow Peak. But we still need to get some here and there, otherwise we'll be quite a few short. Probably, I would say like 40 short if you didn't get any rupees.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. How many rupees you pick up can actually save you time later, because there's actually a rupee chest in Arbiters Grounds that's gotten for the rupee route. But if you get really good luck, you can actually skip it, which saves just a small amount of time.
Yeah, and if you don't get enough rupees, then you'll have to get the ones on Fire's Cannon, which if you only need like the 1 red, then you're probably fine. But if you need any more, that can really lose quite a bit of time, especially at a top level like these 2 players are. You really just want to get good at picking up rupees along the way, wherever you can, and doing it quickly as to not lose time. Just because, you know, if you have to get any other extra ones, then you're just throwing away time that you don't really need. That like unnecessarily just throwing away time. So both of these players getting Master Sword.
Yeah,
pretty decent times.
Sub 22's time, yeah, not bad, especially for a race.
Yeah, and the Master Sword cutscene is actually exactly 2 minutes, so that's kind of interesting, I guess. Lots of most of the cutscenes in Twilight Princess we can skip, but there are just a couple that we can't, and it's quite annoying. What's particularly unfortunate is that pretty much like a bunch of the ones that we can't skip have text or just aren't really long enough for a bathroom break. So it's a 3-hour long run, and we don't really get many breaks, so that can be kind of annoying.
Yeah, I think this cutscene is the 2nd longest. Maybe Hard Rock is longer. I don't know, but yeah, there are only a handful, so kind of have to plan your bathroom breaks around the cutscenes.
Is Squidna longer?
I think so. Yeah.
Huh. I think Squidna's actually like 10 seconds less. There's just no text. I'm not sure. We can check. Actually, let me check CSR.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the Master Sword cutscene is technically 2 different cutscenes. You kind of get clued into that there is a switch if you're paying attention, because normally when you grab the Master Sword, Midna is supposed to be on your back, but she's not there because of a flag that has not been set yet. But as soon as the cutscene does the swap, the seamless swap, Midna appears.
Oh yeah, speaking of Midna and the back of Wolf Link, I guess we forgot to mention in the sewers also Link had the sword and shield on his back, because the flag that's set to have that not happen doesn't happen until you enter Fair and Twilight, I believe.
Yep.
So Midna just kind of like clips into the sword and shield. Okay, Master Sword is just about 2 minutes.
You got to see some of the benefits from the Master Sword right there, not having to actually jump around the mist with Wolf.
Yes.
Midna. You can just transform to human and just use the lantern to get through it much quicker.
Morpheal defeated minute 22. I don't think Squidman's here.
Nice. Is that actually? I didn't even know that was documented in a CSR.
Yeah. There's if you go to general info and then timings, there's like the route times. So then you scroll down, there's cutscene and like just some miscellaneous stuff.
Interesting.
There's some like timings for like different strats. So like
and we see
like
Adi going for back in time right now on Forest Temple. The reason he wants to do this is because he's trying to set something called the boss flag. The boss flag is a shared set of flags, or I guess technically it's just one flag, but it's shared across multiple things in the game. Specifically, usually we call it boss flag because it is tied to mini bosses and bosses. They use it to determine if it should play the cutscene at the start of the fight. But it is actually also shared with the how many monkeys you have in Forest Temple. And so what's going to happen is, Adi's already done it, but they do back in time, pull up the file menu while they're falling, load the file that they saved in Ordon, which has a very specific room and state, and then that room and state actually loads the King Bulbin 1 fight, which the reason it loads that is because the King Bulbin 1 fight actually normally occurs on the title screen map. And then at the beginning of that fight, they reset the game and then skip the cutscene, and then that cutscene skip actually increments the boss flag to a certain value, and then it decrements it over the course of like X amount of frames once the fight has started. But because the game was reset, the boss flag increments and then never decrements. And so you have like this boss flag that's set to like 30 or 35. And since that's actually used to determine how many monkeys you have in Forest Temple, when they go into this next room to actually swing on the bridge, the game checks the boss flag, says, okay, what's the value at? Okay, it's at like 30 right now, okay. If it has logic to check to see, okay, if it's like literally anything higher than 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, give them all the monkeys for this area. And so what happens is, you're going to see right here on Adi's stream, is he's going to open the door, and then all the monkeys are just going to appear, despite him not having saved any of them except the first one. And then that lets you go straight to Ook's room.
Yeah, it's also important that like outside of Bo's house, we specifically save there. There are only a couple locations that actually work for loading into the King Bolin fight. Most places will just crash. So
yeah, it's very, very strategic where the save is done so that the fight doesn't crash whenever you load it. What's interesting here is when you load the room, it actually does decrease the boss flag, but it doesn't decrease it enough to set it to 0. I think it only decreases it by 4, which I'm assuming is tied to the monkey count. So let's say it gets set to like 33 in the King Belbin fight, and now it's 29. Well, all the bosses later that use this flag as well to determine if you have done certain things to start the fight, all just check to see if it's higher than 0. And so since it's still at like 29 or whatever, it's actually going to be used again later to trigger a mini-boss fight early in Lake Bed. So we'll get to see that in probably about 15 minutes. Or 10 minutes.
So Kejsmaster is actually has had a very, very good start of his run. A 29-20 boomerang is very, very, very good. You know, like he's gotten good RNG, played very well. So, yeah, definitely off to a good start.
Yeah, and Ace really right behind him. So both of them having a fantastic start so far.
Yeah, pretty much anything sub for boomerang is pretty good. Sub 29 is like ridiculously good. I've only seen that like once or twice by Demon. I don't know if anyone else has gotten sub 29, but yeah, for that you just need like ridiculously good RNG, and you just need to play ridiculously well. So
both runners have gone to the Forest Temple to get the boomerang and immediately left. And you'll see Audie is actually going to leave Thrown Woods right now. There's actually a trigger right here that doesn't clear until you beat Forest Temple and Thrown Twilight. But since we have the boomerang, we can actually do a trick called Long Jump Attack to jump over that trigger, which you just saw him do there. Basically, the Long Jump Attack works by the game will target the gale, auto-target it for you, and then if the gale is either over a void or over a higher position than where Link is currently standing, the game, when you jump attack at the gale, the game will actually launch you to the gale at a ridiculous speed. And that can be used to do tons of sequence breaks everywhere. So we saw Audie just use it there to get out of the forest, and we're actually going to see him use it again right now to skip the postman. There's a small gap in the trigger right here. That you can just, the trigger gets really small right there by the wall, and then you can just like jump over it. Normally it's gigantic everywhere else. And so you see him just go hug the wall, and then throws the gale, and then when the gale is coming back, it's out of bounds through the wall, and then you can jump attack at it and get the LJ. So we have a really big trick coming up called Gorge Void. So it works out routing-wise that after you get this Shadow Beast fight, it is most optimal to do a jump attack right after you kill the Shadow Beast, which will cause Link to escape Minna's trigger that forces map warping. You still get map warping, but it gets out of the trigger that like forces you to actually go to South Farron or North Farron or wherever. And it works out routing wise that like that is more advantageous than taking it. So much so that it'll actually save a minute. Unfortunately, Audie did not get it. So if Ace gets it right now, he will actually save a minute on Audie and be way ahead. Or not too far ahead since he's a little bit behind, but it'll like 30 seconds. So really big chance for Ace right now if he gets that. Yeah.
It's just there's a one frame where you can jump attack into the void. And yeah, lose about a minute to fail.
Ace also missed it.
Unfortunately. Also missed it, yeah. So basically just normally towards the end of the segment, you would be able to just warp straight to Kakariko, which is where we want to go at the end of the segment. But instead, they will have to warp back to South Farron and just run all the way back there, which is where the time loss comes in.
Yep. Yeah. It's kind of nice that they both missed it now. They will be much closer.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess coming up here, both of them are going to once again escape the forest. And they're going to run over to a gate that leads to Linearu. We're going to go to Lake Hylia and do a trick called Pillar Clip, where basically we're going to... So right now, the water level in Lake Hylia is very, very low, which means that we can actually sink all the way down to the bottom and clip out of bounds and then swim into lake bed without having the Zora armor, which is just very, very useful, just because once we raise the water level, so we can get Uku in lake bed, and then once we raise the water level, we would have no other way to get back there, because in this route, they're both skipping Zora armor. So it's just important to go there now while the water level is low enough and we can actually get in.
So we saw Adi clip the gate, and now he is in Lake Hylia and is going to go for that pillar clip.
Yeah, so it looks like he's doing completely setupless. This trick is very... It's pretty precise. It's much more difficult to do setupless because you really need all of the air that you can get. And doing it setupless definitely loses some air and makes it more difficult to get to the loading zone. Looks like Adi was able to clip out of bounds, and hopefully he can... There we go. He made it to the loading zone. So now we can actually save warp, and normally that would just keep you in the tunnel there, but because we have Master Sword, the game's actually just going to put us like at the end of the tunnel, which is very, very good because, once again, neither of these runners are getting Zora armor, and even if they were, they don't have it now, so yeah.
And it looks like they both also got pillar clip. Very nice.
Yes. Very good. Very nice job, Ace. So in this room here, as you can see, Case is just doing some LJs. So normally you'd have to knock down some of the rocks with bomb arrows, but you can just do some long jump attacks instead. Lake bed is actually like full of long jump attacks, just because.
I see a big one here on Adi's screen.
Yeah. Just lets us get around really quickly.
One jump attack to get onto the railing, and then without breaking target, immediately change it into another one to get over to the east side. Yeah, to get over to the east side, and then pull the lever down. Pulls the lever down to turn the bridge so that he can get the Yaku here. Just works out routing wise to actually split up lake bed, so we get the Yaku so that we can warp out and come back later. But we are actually going to get the claw shot first before we warp back out.
Yeah, and Link just kind of like dives onto the bridge for whatever reason.
First swag. Seeing,
so yeah, just some more double LJs.
Some more LJs, yeah.
And here we're going to see the second use of the boss flags. So until you turn off your console, basically the boss flags are going to stay the same. And they even go through different files, which is even why we're able to get the boss flags in the first place. And so, just for whatever reason, having the boss flags there, you can just look up and it'll spawn you in the fight. And there's a one cycle that you can actually do here. There are very small frame windows. Case fortunately was able to get it. There are very small frame windows. You need to do 10 individual slashes. You can't do a combo because that'll just do enough damage for Deku Toad to sort of get up and start doing some more attacks. But it is possible to get in 10 sword slashes, which will actually kill Deku Toad in one cycle.
Nice. Ace got it as well.
Very, very good. Yeah, that definitely takes a lot of practice to be able to do consistently. Very good.
So the route is now going to, they're going to leave Lake Bed, and this is where they're going to use the Aku and then come back later. But since we're already in Laneru, they're actually going to go up to the domain and get that warp, since they need that warp later. Just because you're in the area, you might as well just go ahead and get it. And then we're getting ready to see both of them do a small time save here. Normally you're supposed to fight the Bublin on the Kargarok, but a lot of enemies in this game will auto-die whenever they enter water. So what Audie's going to try to do, since he has EMS and Iron Boots, since he's done EMS and he has the Iron Boots, is lure the Kargarok down. Oh, what? Okay, he attacked really fast.
Yeah, so he's actually going to do something a little bit different. So you can sort of position the Kargarok in a way that after you attack it, it's close enough that you can just attack it again, which is a little bit slower, but still faster than doing the fight normally, and is definitely a good backup if you don't get good luck with the Kargarok flying towards you.
Yeah, which is what looks like just happened with Audie. So let's see what happens with Ace here.
I wonder if Audie's going to go for Kargarok out of bounds. It looks like he is.
Yeah, nice.
And nice. So, yeah, you can just fly into a very specific spot where the walls sort of come together, and it'll just push you out of bounds, which saves about 6 to 8 seconds. Yes, and Ace also got the quick kill on the Bulblin.
So it looks like Ace is also going to go for the out of bounds.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do consistently.
Yes.
A lot of people just might not go for it because failing it loses a lot more time than it saves, so might not always be worth it. But when you get to such a top level, saving time anywhere is good. You just need to save as much time as you can. So. So there were a lot of first framers in the sewers. This is actually the one place right there at the bottom of the minute jumps there. That's actually the one place that there isn't a first frame that you can do. for whatever reason, there's just you can't press the A button after the text box clears.
I think Audie is dropping notes in chat there.
So yeah, if they both got Gorge Void right here, they would warp to Kakariko, but unfortunately they're going to warp to South Faron instead. Oh yeah, because normally, normally you'd equip it after the quick kill, but I guess he didn't, so he's gonna have to remember. But I think he has.
I think it actually works out if you go for the Wolf Bothouse skip to just not equip the boomerang at all. But since he has to skip the Forest again, he has to remember to equip it. I think that's why he put the note.
Yeah, and also Mailman skip.
Yeah, Mailman skip too. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's faster to skip the Mailman if you don't get Gorge Void. I think it might be just about the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because having to skip the Mailman twice probably loses a little bit of time. It might. I'd imagine it's but
it's probably pretty close. Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't just yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you want to go for Mailman skip anyways. Just obviously
assume that you're gonna get
Gorge Void.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Simi, but a thing in HD, it doesn't save as much time because you're human. So like the wolf dashing is a lot faster, so it's a lot faster to like go around the side. Whereas human, it takes more time, so you don't really save as much, and it's like not really worth it unless you do it really fast.
I'm guessing Ace hit the postman trigger based on his comment in chat. Or maybe not. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he would have gotten it there, but the Bokoblin hit him into the trigger, which
I wanted to say hi.
Very annoying. I guess if you take a little too long to line up with the boomerang, you can wait for the Bokoblin to come by and stun it with the boomerang.
Here we have Adi doing a trick called Rupee Roll. Basically, you can LJ on top of this fence, and normally when you LJ to the fence, it immediately pushes you back down. But if you LJ to it and then pick up a rupee that you've not picked up yet since your last save warp, it'll actually play a cutscene while you're on top of the fence, and that will reset Link's animation long enough for you to actually do a roll and actually slide onto the other side of the fence. And then from there, you can actually maneuver your way to in front of the gorge, and then just do an LJ to cross the gorge, which skips the need to warp the bridge.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why we don't just warp the bridge, it's because we actually can't. You can't warp the bridge unless you both clear Faron Twilight and beat Forest Temple. So
Ace also going for Rupee Roll now. Nice, you got it.
Nice. So yeah, now they are going to get the Elden Vessel and Elden Twilight. There are some optimizations here and there. Coming up right here, because we have the Master Sword, we can actually instead of going through the whole sanctuary and lighting all the torches and all that stuff, we can actually just clip into the well, which saves quite a bit of time. And also, if you're wondering why after they dug under the fence, they were running in such a weird way, it's because the King Bulblin 1 trigger is there, because when we do back in time, getting Iron Boots causes that trigger to be there, and we don't want to fight King Bulblin, and we're in the Twilight and all that stuff, so it just makes sense to run around it. And if you do accidentally hit it, I think it's still fine, but it's definitely not good. You're losing quite a bit of time.
Man. So what we just saw Audie get done doing, what Ace is getting ready to do is normally you're supposed to come out of the well here and then get that bug. But there's actually a way to clip the well while it's still blocked off with human. So what you do is you kill the bug, and then you wait for the tear to spawn, and then you can clip the well. And then you can come down here and get these bugs, and then go back up and get the tear from the one above on your way out. And this just saves having to watch a cutscene in Renato's Sanctuary and having to light some torches and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's actually quite unfortunate that in the GameCube version, the tears you can't collect the tears immediately. You have to wait for them to fully form, which is why you'll see things like doing those small optimizations where we like kill the bug first and then come back later. Like you'll see Audie do right, so he'll get the bug out of here and then just kill it and then run away and then come back and get the tear later. Yeah, Zach, that is one thing that definitely helps us. So, while you're waiting for the tears to space, which is, I guess, good for us because we need 300 by the end. Yeah, pretty much after we get to Kakariko, it's just a lot of bug collecting. First we clear Elden Twilight, and then immediately we go right into Lanayru. So, kind of annoying, but just a part of the run. Just more incentive to practice it and get good, so you're spending as little time as possible collecting tears. So right here, Kejsmaster is going to do a trick called Bomb House Skip. I believe he does the wolf one. Yes. So normally you'd have to chase the bug into the house and then light the house on fire from the inside. But we can actually do a trick here to completely skip all of that. And if you actually kill the bug before it gets into the house just kind of disappears, and you can just go and collect the tears. And in this house here that Case is in, the bug can actually be a little bit annoying. The bug doesn't actually have a hitbox until it goes out to the right there. And so we can just do some RNG manipulation to get it to move out. Just like standing in specific spots can cause the bug to move in specific ways. Here we'll see Ace doing the bomb house skip as human, actually, which is quite a bit easier and safer. And the wolf bomb house...
slower.
Yeah, it's slightly slower.
Yep.
But generally, most people will go for it as human because doing it as wolf only saves a couple seconds, and that's really only if you do it really fast. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've actually timed comparisons of people doing the Wolf one and having it being slower than the Human one because they took too long to set it up. So it is a very, very small time save. You have to do it very, very quick for it to save time.
Yeah, definitely something that you'll want to practice a lot of if you really want to make use of it.
See both runners in Death Mountain now, getting ready to finish the Twilight, getting the final tiers.
And as Simikins mentioned in chat, it is pretty nice that we can do it as Wolf because it helps out for categories that don't get the boomerang. Mostly meme categories, but still categories nonetheless. Yeah, and any categories that don't get that don't do EMS.
And with that, Kejsmaster is done with Elden Twilight, and Ace will be done very shortly after. Since they've both already been to Linearu, nice.
Yeah, you can. There's one frame where you can do a jump attack there, and everything kind of just stops when Midna talks to you, so you can kind of just like break Mallow's neck for a second.
Pretty good. But since they've both already been to Linearu, they can actually go get the meteor and warp it and follow the domain immediately.
And hopefully they get the side hop.
Yeah. There's a side hop after you warp the meteor that saves just a small amount of time, but it is frame perfect with basically no queue, so you just kind of have to hope you get it.
Yeah, and it also messes with the map. Because normally the map would show like a bunch of water in Lake Hylia and down the stream. But if you did the side hop, yeah, like Case got it, nice. So you may notice like on the map, like when it gets to Lake Hylia and all that stuff, you'll just notice there's still just like small patches of blue instead of like the whole thing, because there's the map doesn't update.
That's interesting. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's like a way to know, I guess, throughout the run. Yeah, you can see on the mini map on Audie's screen. Let's hope Ace gets it.
And nice, you got it too.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're both able to warp the meteor immediately because they've already came through Linearu one time. Normally the meteor drops, but there's no text to actually warp the meteor. The flag that sets that is actually them going through the tunnel with the Cargarok. Once you clear that tunnel, then the flag to warp the meteor becomes available.
Yeah, these shadow beasts can be very, very annoying. It's just like the places that they notice you is just, they're so weird and so far apart. It can just be really annoying to get them to go together.
Yeah.
And can definitely lose you time if you're not careful.
Yep, and this is the longest of the Twilights.
Yeah,
About
it's
10
mostly
minutes.
long because we have to go all the way
Into
to
Castletown.
Castletown for just one bug, which I have no idea why they thought it would be a good idea to put with all the other bugs so far away. It's just kind of dumb, kind of annoying. Makes the run slower for us. Yeah. I wonder if Audie's going to go for the side hop here, so we'll see.
No, looks like
Looks like he is.
And you got it. Very nice.
So yeah, there. You can either do that side hop. That side hop is, I believe there are 3 frames that you can get it. And it only saves a couple seconds, so a lot of people opt not to go for it. The other strat is just you can sink down with iron boots and then walk over to the and just climb up onto climb up out of the water and yeah, and the reason that we even sink down into the water in the first place is because there's a cutscene with Rutella, who tells you to save her son, and she actually gives you the Zora armor if you do that whole quest. But as we said, these runners are skipping the Zora armor. But yeah, that cutscene is just long, and so it's just a lot faster to skip it, even though we have to skip it twice.
Nice. Ace also got it.
Yes, very, very good.
Ace is now doing the dreaded lily pad bugs. These bugs can be pretty annoying. Sometimes they will fly out of range and you just can't hit them. Thankfully, that wasn't too bad. I'm pretty sure Audie had a decent one as well, so it's nice that neither of them really got trolled by them, because you can actually lose quite a bit of time on those guys.
So if these runners were getting me, they would actually howl at the stone by Izza right now, but because they're going to be coming back here later, it's just faster to do it later. Just the movement works out to be slightly faster, I believe. And yeah, we do need to get the ending blow. And because we never clear Fair and Twilight, we will need to howl at the stone to get the wolf to appear at a different place. If you don't get the ending blow, then at the end of the game, when you try to kill Ganondorf, it'll say finish at the bottom of the screen, and you just won't be able to do anything. You can press A all you want, and you won't be able to finish. So I guess that's a soft lock. And the reason we can just like howl at the stone and get the wolf to appear somewhere else is because he always gives you the skills in the same order. So he's always going to give you the ending blow first, then the shield bash second, backslice third, so on and so forth. So it just works out that we can get it later and not have to clear Fair and Twilight.
So here we can see Kejsmaster doing the dash canceling I mentioned a little bit ago. Movement in Castletown for Wolf is very, very slow. When you dash, you get, I think it's full dash speed, but it very quickly drops to almost nothing. And so it's one of the only areas in the game where it's actually faster to dash, cancel your dash, and then dash again. Just saves a very small amount of time over doing a dash and letting it right out.
So there's actually one more bug in Lake Hylia. Well, I guess two, but one more on the map there. It's all the way off to the side. And if you void out after the, like, in the flight segment here, it actually just puts you right next to the bug. So it's much faster to just get the 4 bugs in the flight segment and then just crash on the side. And it'll put you right next to the last one. So much faster than swimming all the way there.
That Adi has all the bugs except for the very, very last one, which is the big boss bug. We'll actually get to see some interesting strats used in this fight to speed it up just a little bit. Basically, when the bug comes to charge at Wolflink, you can actually attack him at the same time that he's charging you, and then it will just do like a temp stun on him, and then as he's kind of floating back up, to prep for the next attack, you can actually jump on him, which is earlier than you're normally supposed to be able to. Saves a little bit of time between each segment. So we'll see Adi's try to go for it right here. Nice.
Yeah, and it's actually possible to manipulate where the bug goes with the camera.
Yep.
So the platform that's floating in the water is much longer than it is wide, so you definitely want to try to manipulate the bug in such a way that you have the space to back hop, so you can actually get the bug.
And there's a little trick that Adi just did there at the end where after you target all the legs, normally it's supposed to start a sequence where you actually attack all the legs and then the fight ends. And once you actually start that mini charge, the game is designed so that whenever you finish the charge, it triggers this cutscene. So you can kind of manipulate it in such a way that as soon as you start the charge, you actually bonk into a piece of collision on his leg. And so the game says, okay, you started the charge, and now the charge ended, so I can play the cutscene. And so it skips the whole sequence of him actually attacking all the legs. It saves us a little bit of time.
So immediately after clearing linear Twilight, they are going to warp to Zora's domain, and this is because they need to go to Izza. So, as I mentioned before, in this route they are going to get a bomb bag instead of the Zora armor, and the fastest bomb bag that we can get, well, currently, will be the one at Izza. So we can use Uku to actually steal the bomb bag, but that bomb bag is only temporary. So when we steal that bomb bag, if we save warp or die, then it's actually going to disappear, which is not good because we need to have bombs for fighting Morpheal and also later in the run, and we do multiple save warps. So what we're going to do is actually get the bomb bag with from Izza, and then use that to get a permanent bomb bag and that we can use for the rest of the run. So first things first, we have to howl here just to make the golden wolf appear. And then we can go to Izza.
Yeah, the howling here is the Rukuma spirit from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, so we can just transform right behind that sign, and because when transforming or warping, there can't be like any NPCs around. So, for whatever reason, just going behind that sign just becomes blind.
So we see Adi already starting to get rid of some of those bombs. The permanent bag we want to get requires that we have water bombs first. Because it is the Goron bomb bag, which you use water bombs to blow up a rock in Zora's Domain. So what Adi has to do first, before anything, is get rid of all his normal bombs, because you only have one bomb type in a bag. Get some water bombs, and then go and get the permanent bag with the water bombs.
And then after that, we'll also need to fill that bomb bag. After he gets that bomb bag, he's going to, as he goes around, he's just going to be dropping bombs. Because there's another water bomb chest in Lake Bed that he will need to get later.
Yeah, this is all for getting a permanent bag with water bombs in it, which is useful for both Morpheal and then later on Zant. It's going to let us... It's kind of the key to actually skipping the Zora armor.
And there's actually a trick you can do to not have to empty all of the bombs. But it only saves like 15 seconds, and it's frame perfect, and if you fail it, your run is basically dead. So there's just no reason to go for it ever, unless you're super practiced and it's a terrible run.
Let's see how to do a trick here called Rocket Link. Basically, if you pull out a water bomb and then force unequip your iron boots, you will temporarily swim with the water bomb. And this is actually the trick that is used to refill your air. But if you drop the water bomb while swimming with it too early, you'll actually just shoot to the surface of the water, which in this case is actually good because we need to get out of the water and go to Snow Peak. But doing it, let's say, during the Morpheal fight is terrible because you need to be down near the ground to fight Morpheal. So, useful in some situations, but terrible in others. Here we see Adi also do a trick called Map Glitch. Basically, he's going to pull up Midna with Z, and then also pull up the map with D-pad left to right, and then try to warp away. But because Midna was pulled up at the same time, she actually prevents the warp from happening. And what this does is it puts Link in a state where the game thinks he's in the middle of warping. And when you're not in the correct state, certain loading zones don't fire. So like the loading zone here to make you go back and get the Reedfish scent, where it forces you to go to the front of Snow Peak, no longer activates. So you can just run up through Snow Peak and skip having to get the Reedfish scent altogether.
Yeah,
which is good because we actually can't even get the fishing rod due to back in time, so this fixes that issue.
Yeah, and actually, that's the glitch that is patched in the Japanese version.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it 15 minutes slower, because in the Japanese version, I guess if you want to complete the game, you can't, because you actually do have to get the fishing rod in the Japanese version and get the Reedfish scent, because Map Glitch was patched, so there'd be no other way to get around this.
It's kind of interesting how they patched it. They just moved the state update of Link to be a few frames later. So instead of it happening on the very first frame, which triggers the glitch, it happens on like 10 frames in or something like that.
And also, Kejsmaster, you might be wondering why Kejsmaster just like went up to the stone and just howled at it and then just left. And that's because when we did map glitch, it disabled all the loading zones. If he tried to just go and dig immediately, then the game would just soft lock because there's no loading zone and there's nowhere to put you. So by howling at the stone there and then leaving for whatever reason, howling, that's not disabled. And so we can howl there and then just leave, and that'll like I guess reload the area, which would make the loading zones activated again.
In case they're doing another glitch called the messenger skip for Snow Peak. Basically, when you void out in certain areas on the Snow Peak map, it'll actually reload you in different areas. And so what he does is he actually uses an LJ to get really far down the Snow Peak like void area and then void out further down. And that causes you to reload up by Yeto, which triggers his cutscene and skips having to actually kill the messengers and get this warp. Which is fine because we never come back here again. We're literally just coming here to get the ball and chain and leave.
Although not killing the shadow beasts doesn't remove all the fog, so Kejs will actually be doing what we call blind snowboarding, just because you can't really see what's in front of you, but we do have some visual cues for snowboarding around. So for most of it, you can just kind of like, you don't really need to see that far ahead of you. You can just kind of adjust as you're going through. But we will be doing the shortcut. So because the path is so thin, we have like some visual cues for where to jump, so we don't fall in the void. Voiding here loses quite a bit of time, so it's pretty important to have this practice. And yes, Kejs landing on the platform down there. And pretty much after that little segment there's nothing really else that you can fall off to unless you just like really, really mess up. So that's just the scariest part, and then pretty much smooth sailing from there.
Kejs doing a trick here called Minda text skip. There's a trigger there where Minda talks about the mansion. It's very short, but the trigger is actually pretty small. You can actually just jump attack over it. And so if you do it quick enough, it actually saves time over just talking to Minda. So just a small time save there. And then the Snow Peak route here is actually pretty interesting. So using LJ, we can actually go and get a small key that you're supposed to get way later by going through this one-way collision ceiling, claw-shotting that, and then coming into this room and then using an LJ to get over to the small key chest where normally you're supposed to have the ball and chain.
So yeah, we can just do some LJs in that room. There are a couple different strats for getting there and back, depending on what you want to do. What you want to do to get to the key is kind of just whichever method you like. But getting back usually will depend on what route you're doing. If the route you do gets bombed, you need to empty them here. Then you'll probably just void out because you can drop the bombs as you're voiding out. But if not, then you can actually do an LJ back, which will save some health. And it's actually, I believe it might break even because you have to kill the keys, but I believe if you do it fast enough, it can save some time. And it's safer because here for that trick that Kejs just did, you have to take damage to get invincibility frames, and then we can actually use the Freezard, clip us out of bounds, and then we can just open the door backwards and get into the mini-boss fight here. So it is possible to one cycle Dark Hammer here. You can either do I think it's like 3 quick spins. You need to get 5 hits in with the strength of a quick spin. And so or if you have bombs, you can drop a bomb, which will do a ton of damage, and then you can just do a jump attack into a spin attack, which will kill him very quickly. So now here, Case will be going to the back room here, not to get the, it's like the goat cheese or something, the Ordon goat cheese, but just to get the orange rupee there. And then save warp. And then right here at the start of Snow Peak, there's another orange rupee that we can just grab really quickly, which is good because again we need a lot of rupees. So as you might have seen,
this whole time Case has been dumping bombs, and now he is down to his last 2, which he will be using in this room to get to a chest and refill his bombs with water bombs.
And as you might have seen Ace do, I guess he messed up the strat to hit Dark Hammer with the bomb, so you might have seen that he did the quick spins. So coming up here, most boss doors in Twilight Princess, you can't actually just get behind the boss door and then get into the boss room because most of the loading zones are actually tied to opening the door, except for Lake Bed. So Lake Bed, the loading zone, you actually drop into it. So we can do some setups here and clip into the bridge, which will let us actually clip into the boss room, into the, I guess, the entrance. And because we don't actually need the boss key to get into the room, we can just kind of go right ahead, which is very, very nice because the boss key, I believe you need the Zora armor, and it's so far into the dungeon, it just takes forever, so it's really, really nice that it works out like this.
So now Case will be fighting Morpheal without the Zora armor. Oh, and he may have gotten screwed on RNG here. Yeah, he did. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So what he wanted to happen there was after he hit the eyeball is pull out a wire bomb and then hold it during the cutscene, which would let him get a refill basically whenever he wants right after the cutscene ends. Unfortunately, if you get really bad luck, or I don't know, maybe good luck? No, I guess bad luck. The eyeball will actually go straight back into Morpheal faster than you can pull out the bomb, in which case you can't use the bomb immediately, and you have to just do it at the start of the cutscene, which isn't a huge time loss, but it does waste a little bit of time versus being already in the air with the bomb.
Yeah. It also means that he can't go for one bomb, which I guess in our case is good because we definitely would not want to see him die to Morpheal. Dying to Morpheal loses a lot of time, so you definitely have to be very careful and hope that you get good luck. It is possible to, so best is 2-bomb, which it looks like Case will be getting here. Yes. So yeah, you can refill once right after the first phase, and then get 4 hits off, then leave off. leave more, like get off Morpheel's back and then sink down and just use one more bomb because you can actually re-grab to like immediately after hitting 4 times. But it is possible if you get to Morpheel very, very soon after dropping the water bomb, it is possible to only use one bomb and only refill your air once. But it takes very, very good RNG and a lot of just practicing the strat, and it's just really, really not worth it. Unless, you know, similar to the getting the Goron bomb bag without getting water bombs, it just doesn't really save enough time for you to, you know, always go forward in runs, and if you miss it, then your run's basically dead. So better to just stick with 2 bomb.
We see Ace got the actual float up there.
Yes. So Ace is also going to go for 2 bomb. And that's unfortunate. Yeah,
That's
so
unfortunate,
yeah, Morpheal can be really trolly sometimes and just kind of not swim towards you at all. And yeah, it can cause you to yeah, that's just bad luck. Not really much you can do. I guess he might have been able to swim up a little bit more, but you really just, you want to have as much air as possible, so if you can't grab Morpheal quick enough, then it's better to just sink down. And sometimes if you don't have enough air to get 2 hits in, it might just be better to sink down. Oh, that was close.
Yeah.
He almost didn't get the re-grab. But
yeah, if he didn't get that, that would have been really bad.
Yeah, dying to Morpheal loses just so much time. It's like two minutes even. It's just really something you want to be careful of. And you know, it's one of the reasons that some people might opt to get the Zora armor instead. Because getting the Zora armor, the fastest way is you would do an Epona slide, which is just a glitch where you get off Epona in a certain way, and you would do an Epona slide over the gorge because, you know, once again, we never warp the bridge, and that is another frame-perfect A-press at the gorge, but it is definitely more consistent than Morpheal, and can be practiced quite a bit, so a lot of people would consider that the safer and better option over gambling with Morpheal RNG, but
So Audie actually got a glitch right here. If you B-attack into that cutscene, it can break the cutscene, and it actually causes the text from the cat to occur just slightly faster. I think overall it saves like 1 second or something like that. But it also it just looks really goofy whenever you get it.
Yeah, I've always known that it was possible, but I've never actually seen it. So this is very, very cool for me. I'd never like seen a clip or anything. This is nice. This is good. Yeah, it just saves a little bit of time, not too much, but definitely neat if you get it. So Minna's Desperate Hour is actually one of the few segments that just has almost no RNG. It's pretty much just all skill through this segment, which is really, really nice. So
we'll see Case in this. Yeah, we'll see Case in this next area actually skip. Nobody's supposed to use the torch to burn the 2 webs here, but because when you have the torch in your mouth and the keys are around, well, one, carrying the torch is really slow, so it's not faster to burn the second web with it anyway. But even when you do, when the torch is in your mouth and the keys are around, Wolflink actually won't climb the sledge without killing the keys, and so it's actually just works out to be much quicker to just climb, turn human, and then burn the web with the lantern, which isn't something you're normally supposed to be able to do at this point. But since we got the Master Sword like 25 minutes in,
yeah, pretty much Wolflink just like won't climb ledges unless his head is like facing towards the ledge, which is also something that makes the lily pad bugs really, really annoying, because if Link is like looking at the bugs, then if he's looking at the bugs, then he won't be able to climb onto the lily pads, and it just like makes the whole thing worse. And also, Kejsmaster had to kill the Boblin at the bottom of the tower here, because if you don't, then he'll like shoot at you while you're walking across the ropes, and I'm not sure if you can make it up without killing him, but I believe you can't, so yeah, we just have to kill him before we proceed. And then here we'll see a small optimization where we can actually, if you have really good movement, you can actually get onto that bridge just before it goes all the way down, and save a little bit of time. Yeah, I guess that's like the one slightly RNG thing. Sometimes you can just, you'll try to dash off the side of the bridge and it just doesn't work for absolutely no reason. But fortunately he got it. So right now, right after Minutes Desperate Hour, we actually go and get the ending glow, because it's just right there, right outside the castle. And also, after you get the ending glow, the game will put you in Farron. And in our case, it'll be in like just some weird state, because we never cleared Farron Twilight, but it tries to put you in like the cleared state. But it just works out because immediately after getting the ending glow, we want to warp. So it doesn't really matter where it puts us. So that's just, it makes the most sense to get it here. And once again, Ace right there, using the property of enemies dying in water to just hit the Boblin off the edge and kill it a little bit faster.
And with that, Audie has the ending blow. Again, unfortunately, a requirement to actually kill Ganondorf. You can actually get all the way to the final fight without it, and then not be able to kill him.
Yeah, it's
You do not get that.
really dumb. And like some people have been like on on runs that get this far and then they accidentally forget, and then like all of a sudden just save like a ridiculous amount of time, and they're like,
that's a suspicious time check.
Well. Yeah, and then they get all, and they can't kill Ganondorf, and it's just really unfortunate. Luckily, it doesn't happen too often, but it has happened to people before, so just something to keep in mind.
And there we see Kejs actually going to see up before transforming from wolf into human. Pretty much anywhere where Midna is on your back as wolf, and then you turn into human, it saves just a very small amount of time to go into see up first. I don't think it applies everywhere, but for most cases it is faster, because it just shortens the amount of time that the camera has to turn to face Link, which is a requirement before the text will actually show up to turn into human. So for the most part, all wolf to human transformations will be preceded with a see up.
Yeah, I believe in most cases, it's just like you basically have to be near frame perfect for it to actually save time. So I guess he just does it like you said in chat. He just does it because like Hylia lags a ton. So I guess it would save a little bit more time.
You know.
And also, you may notice that Kejs like sort of zooms the camera out, like pans it, makes the camera like point downward, because the desert here is just so large, and there's just so much loaded that the game, like, there's a major drop in frame rate if you just like have the camera facing forward. So we just pan the camera down like this to reduce lag, and honestly in this place, in the desert, it probably saves like a couple seconds. There are other places a little bit, but yeah, here it lags so bad that I can't imagine it doesn't save like at least like 4 seconds or something like that.
I used to know how much it saved. I don't remember anymore. It was actually ZFG that found this time save when he was running a long time ago. He was like,
yeah,
down here, and he timed it, and it was like way faster.
Yeah, I checked the ZSR timings page again. It doesn't seem like it's on there, unfortunately.
So Kejs is actually doing a trick here. So he did map glitch when he entered the area, same glitch from earlier, and that actually lets him kind of ride the void on the bottom here, out of bounds, and then the King Bubbling trigger actually extends all the way down and up, so you can actually trigger the fight from underneath the map, which lets you skip having to actually go get the small keys from the Bubbling and open the gate and all that stuff. So pretty good chunk of time saved there.
Yeah, that fight was a little bit slow. Just kind of weird. Sometimes like certain like attacks don't hit properly for whatever reason. Best case scenario, he would be able to chain the quick spins together, and just hit King Bulblin over and over and over really quickly and kill him super fast. Hopefully we'll be able to see Ace pull that off. But yeah, it doesn't lose too much time. Only a couple seconds. but now we will be heading off to Arbiters Grounds. So, Arbiters Grounds is a pretty interesting dungeon. We have some cool little tricks here and there. And pretty much the entire dungeon is done backwards. So like the first half leading up to killing the pose is done backwards, and then going to the spinner is also done backwards. So it's just kind of weird to see the rooms in the order that we do them. But yeah, I guess coming up in a couple rooms we'll see the first trick, pose skip, which is there's a new method found by Mr. Men that's not too difficult, but definitely still takes some practice, so hopefully we can see these players pull it off first try. And I believe it saves a little over a minute.
Unfortunately, Ace actually angled too wide with his jump attack there and missed the King Melvin trigger. So the fix here is to just save warp and then do the trick again.
Yeah, because when you do map, it gets rid of the void out loading zone as well. So oh, actually, I didn't realize where it would spawn him. I thought it would spawn him in a much further back than that. I don't know why. I guess I just haven't seen someone fail that in a while. But he should be able to get it this try. Alright, so coming up here with Case. What? Oh, that's unfortunate for Ace, but yeah, so Kejsmaster will be doing post skip. Yes, got it first try. Very, very nice. That trick definitely takes some practice. So that's good. Yeah, I believe that trick saves like a minute and 10 seconds or so, something like that. The old method was a lot slower and took a lot more time to retry as well. So yeah, that new method. Shout out to Mr.
Ace getting bullied right now by the bubble. Pretty unfortunate, but that's just how this game goes, unfortunately.
Yeah, so Kejsmaster there, unfortunately missing it, but there's, so the pose take, how long it takes for them to spin around really fast like that is kind of RNG. Well, it is RNG, but we can do some special movement, and if you do it correctly, you can actually manipulate them into spinning faster, like start spinning faster. So that just saves a little bit of time, but unfortunately he missed it. and also doing post skip. Not only does it skip killing the first Poe, but also do the dungeon backwards. So we actually killed the fourth Poe first. And also, Case got the red rupee chest after killing the fourth Poe, because, as mentioned multiple times before, and also getting the red rupee from that re-dead, we need 300 rupees by the end of Arbiters, actually.
So Case actually hits the Poe once there with a minute charge, and then immediately goes over and clips the wings of the bubbles. If you don't do that, they can actually like attack you while you're trying to hit the Poe and knock you out of sense, which would not be good, because then you can't hit the Poe, and then sometimes the Poe even hits you. So it's just a little bit safer to just minute charge the Poe first and then clip the wings and bubbles just so they're not a threat.
Yeah. But what Case did right there, so when you push the central pillar, if an enemy hits you off of it, then it'll actually just keep going, but you can move around. So he goes down there, and then normally you would just kill the rat so it doesn't interfere, but he actually sort of did it in a certain way that he was able to manipulate the rat into hitting him after he had already started pushing, which is good because it just saves a little bit of time. Ace also getting post skip first try, very, very nice. Once again, a trick that isn't too difficult, but definitely takes some practice to be able to get it consistently. So there we see Case getting to 300 rupees, which is very good. So now he won't have to worry about that anymore. Usually right around here is where you'd want to get to 300. If you are short at all, you can get a 20 rupee, a red rupee at Fire's Cannon. So it's not too bad, but definitely better if you just get to 300 here. I've actually had some unfortunate cases myself where $2.99, and then I don't know where any backup rupees are, so I just kind of have to get the 20, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, so Case doing early boss key here. You can actually just hop behind that pillar, in between the pillar and the wall, and then just get to the boss key early, saving a little bit of time. And this is kind of the key to actually doing the dungeon backwards. So you can actually get the boss key, and then from here traverse normally the way you would come through with when you have the spinner. Traverse that backwards to actually get to Death's Sword to get the spinner.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that you do with the spinner takes you up. So we can just kind of when going backwards, we don't really need it because everything is just sort of down. So right here we'll be seeing an interesting strat to kill these the Stalfos. We can drop bombs in a sort of specific way that will just kill them really, really quickly. We can actually get to the gate that opens after you kill them, before they die, so it's just a little bit fast.
And then if Case goes for it, we may see another skip here. So this is a trick called Death Sword Skip, where you can actually just straight up skip the second half of the fight, but it is very, very precise. Basically, you can use the same technique that was used to do EMS, can be used here with Death Sword to actually jump over the locked gate and enter the spinner before the fight ends. Let's see if he goes for it. Looks like he is, I think.
Yeah.
So he is going to try for it. Actually only loses time if you don't get it in the first 2 attempts. So if he misses it once, he might try it again.
Yeah.
Actually, because Death Sword wasn't in the right spot, he actually might be slower down at this point. Let's see if he gets it. Nice, he did get it.
Nice! First try. Well, I guess first try. Even though Death Sword was in a weird position. That's very, very, very good. That trick is, like Fino said, very precise, very difficult. I believe. Is it frame perfect?
When I found it, it was frame perfect, but I believe there's a slightly different setup now that makes it like 3 frames. So it's not quite frame perfect, but it is still like insanely hard to do. And
Yeah.
I think the reference frames change very slightly depending on your position, so you can't like always consistently get the trick based on like where Death Sword is. It's kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah, so it's just a really, really dumb trick, but Case with enough practice, you can get pretty consistent at it, and so Case has definitely gotten to that level. So unfortunately, Ace isn't quite at 300 rupees. I'm not sure. I mean, if there are any, I don't know where there would be any other rupees besides the ones at Fire you could get quickly.
There's a blue and a skull right before the boss key. You might end up picking that one up.
Huh.
I don't know if he knows about it.
I always thought there was, but I don't know which skull it's in.
And like right before you jump into the pit to do the early boss key trick, you just break those skulls like with the B attack, and then lose one of them.
I'll have to keep that in mind. So Case right here is heading up to the Stallord boss fight. Stallord is very annoying. There's a lot of RNG.
Yep. Oh,
okay.
That's not what he wanted. Can he get it?
I don't know if it's possible to climb back up.
Well, that's
He can.
unfortunate.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I guess he could void, and that'll would that put the rupee back?
I think it's a temp flag that gets set, so maybe not. Okay, no. That was a good try.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, as we saw Case do before, you can do some B attacks and just sort of keep around them. It's really weird. I don't know if if the developers intended for this. I imagine they did, but use the Wolf B attack to you can just sort of use the Wolf B attack to get across sand very, very quickly.
Case unfortunately getting pretty bad luck on Stallord right now.
Yeah, losing quite a bit of time. I believe maybe the best he can pull off on this segment might be like I don't know, I want to say like close to 6 minutes, like 5:50 maybe. When normally you'd want to get like a 5:12 is like optimal, I believe, or close to. Those timings being from when you get the spinner to fade out of the loading zone at the end of Arbiters Grounds. And coming up here, we will see Case go for a trick here where you can actually knock down Stalord without having to ride the pillar all the way up to the top. Saves about 30 seconds or so, and is really cool. Yeah, so hopefully you can get it here. Yes.
And then Ace didn't do Death Sword Skip, but he did get pretty much the fastest fight you can get. Minus maybe like, I think you can go for some like crazy like 5 or 6 head ball and chain strat, but basically just hits Death Sword with the ball and chain a bunch of times and then chains a bunch of sword slashes to one cycle him.
I'm pretty sure 5 is the most. I think 6. After 6, he just gets back up. But yeah, we can also just chain a bunch of quick spins together and one cycle Stalord. If you don't one cycle Stalord, going up to the top to hit him is very annoying because when a certain amount of damage is dealt, a bunch of blade traps start spawning everywhere, and it's just better to make sure you can do that one cycle.
So now Case is about to get the mirror chamber warp. Although he will be getting the warp, he actually won't be raising the mirror. There's actually no reason to raise the mirror, and there's normally the game prevents you from like warping away without raising the mirror, but they forgot to account for when you zoom in all the way on the map, you can actually just turn on warping anyway. So what we'll see happen is he'll actually get the warp here, open up the minimap, zoom all the way in, turn on warping, and then warp away. And that lets you, having to skip, do the whole actual mirror raising sequence. In a casual playthrough, you actually wouldn't be able to do this because raising the mirror is actually tied to the Iliad memory side quest. And you can't complete that until you raise the mirror. But we're actually skipping that whole side quest along with the Temple of Time and the rest of Snow Peak with this trick that's about to happen right here. Nice, Ace right in the thing backwards. So on the statue right here, if you get in the right spot, you can actually transform and just clip behind it, and then warp the cannon straight to Lake Helia and go to City in the Sky way early. This is probably the biggest time-saving trick in the run. I think this saves something close to like
well over an hour.
Yeah, over an hour. Yeah. It's pretty massive. And basically the whole reason it even saves time is because the check to actually let you into the Palace of Twilight is tied to completing City in the Sky. So despite not getting any of the other mirror shards from Snow Peak or Temple of Time, we're still able to complete the mirror and go in the palace with just City.
Yeah, and this is why we needed the 300 rupees. Yeah, both runners not getting very good RNG on this fight.
Yeah, Stalwart is a meanie.
So, City in the Sky is personally one of my favorite dungeons in a speedrun, just because there's just so many movement. There's just such cool movement all over the place, with tons of LJs. Because if you remember how the LJ works, if the boomerang is over a void, that is one of the ways to get an LJ. So, because we're in the sky, there are tons and tons and tons of voids. So we can just LJ all over the place, and it's really cool.
Yeah, this dungeon's awesome. Probably my favorite dungeon.
Nice. Ace also getting the quick knockdown.
Doing the swag one cycle.
Yeah.
Spinning the camera while he does his quick spins.
So right off the bat here already, just doing some LJs instead of using the Ukus. Just save some time there. And also, we will be doing a trick called fan skip here. So normally at the top of the next room right here, there is a fan that blocks you from getting to the boss key. But by transforming far away from the door and opening the door as far away from it as possible, we actually just never walk into the trigger that makes the fan start spinning. And that saves going through like 2 rooms. Or sorry, not 2 rooms. It saves like 2 minutes. Sorry. And it saves going through like a bunch of rooms, and it just wastes a ton of time.
So getting this small key here actually sets your save spawn location. The reason for it is when you leave this area, there's a cutscene that normally happens at the end of this bridge where a case is at. And the game like really wants you to watch this cutscene, so when you save warp in the dungeon, it'll actually put you back at that small key chest, just so that they can make sure you watch this cutscene. And then once you watch the cutscene, it reverts it back to the front of the dungeon. But you can actually just skip this cutscene with a side hop right here on this pillar and then roll on this ledge. Looks like Case actually messed it up, so he's going for a backup really quick with the wind. Yep, he got it. Very nice. But since that cutscene gets skipped, the save spawn will actually not get reset back to the front of the dungeon. Which kind of works out, because you actually, after the double claw shots, want to come back to this room Case is in now. And it's very slightly faster to get back here from the small key room than it is the front of the dungeon.
And just some little optimizations. They can actually get off the spinner slightly before the bridge gets to the other side, and it'll still make it all the way to the end, so we can just get moving a little bit sooner. And once again, just more LJs.
Now we'll see a lot of LJs in these rooms.
Yeah.
Just speeds up the room very slightly.
And there's a 1-frame jump attack on the other side of this door right here. Audio unfortunately missed it. I don't know if he was going for it, but just saves like a teeny tiny little bit of time, if any, really. And on these chandeliers here, he will be claw shotting onto. It's actually possible to drop off on the same frame that the cutscene starts, and that does save a little bit of time here. And there's one more instance where we can do it. And coming up here is a trick called Uku Jump. That just saves some time in this room. We don't have to go through and do the puzzle, which is very nice. The puzzle takes just an annoying amount of time, so I believe even if you miss Uku Jump there, basically we just like jump off at a specific height to be able to grab the ledge there. And if you miss it, I believe it's just faster to retry Uku Jump than to actually do the puzzle.
Yeah, because the puzzle plays a cutscene. It takes a while, and usually the wind cycles don't line up. You have to wait again. It's just faster to try to jump again. So Case is actually doing the mini boss now, which has a fun little trick in it. So the gate blocking the double claw shots has a target that normally you're supposed to get once it's exposed, once the fight is beat. There's actually just a few pixels if you're standing in the right spot where you can actually claw shot the target above the gate. Let's see here if he gets it. And it'll let you skip the entire fight. Fortunately, it doesn't look like he has it.
Yeah, I think he messed up the setup slightly before the fight. He took like one step before doing the first roll, which messes up the setup. I believe there are only like 3 pixels.
Something like that, yeah.
That you can claw shot onto. So it's very precise. And there we go. Case getting it second try. Very, very nice. Yeah, that trick is really, really difficult. Super precise, pixel perfect. And so yeah, very nice. Even second try is honestly still good. I believe you have to fail it like 3 or 4 times for it to lose time over just doing the fight.
Yeah, I think if you compare it against like the ball and chain strat, it's like 3rd time it breaks even or something like that.
Yeah.
So now Case will be able to finally take advantage of that trick that he did right at the start of the dungeon where he turned wolf when he entered the middle room, which stopped the fan, or well, technically it prevented the fan from ever starting. And that's going to basically let him skip the whole second half of the dungeon, go straight and get the boss key.
Nice 2-hand grab.
Very good.
Yeah, basically just like all throughout this dungeon, you can either get 1-hand or 2-hand grabs. 2-hand is faster, but it's complete RNG. And in that room, it's important to make sure the Dinalfos don't notice you, because they can just be so annoying to deal with. There's not really a great way to kill them without like having specific scenarios set up. So like we'll see later in Hyrule Castle, there will be a room with Dinalfos, and we'll see a quick kill with bombs. But other than that, they can just be really annoying to deal with. It just loses a ton of time if they spot you and run over to you. And right here...
Go ahead.
Well, no, you explain.
So right here, we never activated the final fans, so Case is actually going to do a trick to LJ to the back fan, and then immediately chain it to another LJ to skip having to turn on his fans. So that's really cool. And then in this final room, he's actually going to be trying to go for a early cycle on one of these fans. You kind of just have to wait out them turning around. Basically, just activate the fans and then just ride them on the way up. But the very last fan you can actually grab really quickly if you're fast enough. You don't have to wait for the cycle to go all the way around. So he'll be trying to get that if he can.
Yeah, this room definitely takes a lot of practice to be able to do well. It's just difficult to claw shot the grading sometimes.
Nice, he got it.
Yeah, really good. I believe it's like 15 seconds every time you miss that claw shot at the end there. Something like that. So yeah, just like if you just like keep missing all the claw shots, having to go around, then it's just like you just lose so much time.
Unfortunately, Ace fell down there. He dropped the Aku just barely too early. Something I've done many times. Just get impatient. Yeah, and unfortunately he jumped too early there and missed the wind cycle. He might be able to still get it. Nope, he's gonna wait.
Yeah, and Case did a trick called Mob Shot. Where you just get in a specific spot and then you can basically claw shot to the top of the vines there, just because climbing is so slow in this game. And actually, if you claw shot Argrok's tail on the first frame that it's possible, the game will actually soft lock. So, pro tip, go slow.
Yeah, you can claw shot too soon right there, and then after the cutscene where you grab him, when you get on the grading, you can actually, again, claw shot him too soon and then make it so his tail is, like, impossible to grab, and you have to, like, reload the area. It's really... This fight's just really buggy.
So, Ace will work the for Aralpo skip here. Once again, pixel perfect trick. And looks like
really
you got it
fast,
first try. Really, really nice. Yeah, very fast. And you also may have noticed Kejsmaster voided out as soon as the phase started. That saves about 3 seconds. Basically, Argrok normally would like start flying around and doing a bunch of weird stuff, and that just makes Argrok just stay put and explore in the center of the room. And then Case also does a trick there called Flames. Basically, if you claw shot the P-hat from the pillar in a specific way, and then you sink down with the iron boot, you can sort of trick Argrok into thinking that you fell, which stops Argrok from blowing the flames, and so he'll just like stay put for a little bit, so you can go around to his back and clock him. I believe that's how it works. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, yeah, that's right. As far as I know.
And then for the last phase here, because Argrok does something a little bit different, where he like tries to trick you and turns around, we just do a little bit of a different strat, but same idea, pretty much, just tricking Argrok into stopping blowing the flames. So we can just flash out on Argrok. And very nice fight from Kejsmaster.
Good fight. It's also getting the double J there, very nice. So we're going to see Case actually do something here before he gets in the cannon to leave. He's going to put on the iron boots, and this is so as he falls out of the sky, his horizontal speed is greatly reduced, and that's going to let him do a jump slash and land on the bridge as opposed to the water, which will let him warp away immediately. Normally you would have to swim out of the water to warp. Nice little time save.
Mm-hmm. So here we have Palace coming up. There isn't really too much in Palace. Some optimizations here and there, but pretty vanilla all around. Palace in general it's not that hard to do, period, but it's pretty hard to do well. So that's definitely something that that you want to practice. Sorry, Case. It's not boring. It's not boring. It's just different. Special.
It is the longest dungeon. It's fun though. I'd say it's probably my second favorite on the run. Pine City is pretty much all skill. There's not a whole lot of RNG to it, outside of like the Zant fight. And I guess the hologram Zants.
Nah, Ace, just go for the Zelda crash.
A fun fact, I actually got that Zelda crash in a 100% PB. I reloaded the game and finished it and still PB'd. I had like forgot it was a thing, and then I got it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, hey, this is the thing that can happen."
I've only gotten it once, and it was 100% intentional. It was just like, I was just like doing a no reset, and I was like a minute behind PB, and then I was just like, all right, watch this, I'm about to go, and then I did it. It's kind of dumb. I don't really know why it crashes, but. So yeah, coming up here on Case's screen, we will see the Phantom Zant fight, and we have some pretty interesting strats to manipulate the fight. So normally, if you just do like a combo on Zant, he will start teleporting around super fast, but if we actually damage him in a very specific way, he won't do that, and we can finish him off really quickly. He'll just kind of teleport and then stop. And if we do a stab, then 2 quick spins, and then stab, 2 quick spins, and then stab, and then 3 quick spins, we can actually just finish him off in 3 cycles really, really quickly. Saves quite a bit of time, and no RNG of him. Well, I guess some RNG still, but definitely we don't have to be as reliant on it, which is very nice.
You can see Case doing a lot of L slides, which is where you grab something with the claw shot, and then you can hold the L button and the analog stick, and Link will slide as he's picking it up. Saves a small amount of time every time you need to grab the soul.
Yeah, there's quite a long delay because, so like, typing goes through instantly, but, we have to wait probably like 8 seconds-ish, if I had to guess, for like most people's streams. And then plus, and so then it goes through, to us, but then it goes through a second time to you guys, so it's like, delay plus minimum, and then like goes through 2 streams, so yeah, so far nice palace from Kejsmaster. And normally you would have to take the platform over to the other side, but because there's void here, we can just do an LJ. Somewhat annoying because the Zant head that spawns, it can spawn in random place of like a couple locations. Fortunately, Case got pretty lucky there. And yeah, it's also really bad if you fall down there.
Yeah, it's kind of devastating. You have to like go back to the front of the room and flash it back up.
Yeah, it's really, really annoying. Even worse if you have the soul with you, because you have to worry about claw shotting it once you get back up onto the platform. It's just a whole ordeal. Just if you're planning on running Twilight Princess, just make sure you practice that room in particular of Palace a lot. Very nice claw shot from Case there. It's possible to claw shot before the cutscene starts, but definitely takes some practice. And Spidey shot, nice.
That's nice.
You can also claw shot that before the claw shot takes you into first person, which saves a little bit of time and looks really cool.
Then you can do a small LJ here to just skip having to jump down and claw shot that target.
So once again here we'll be seeing the same fight as before, with the stabs and quick spins and just making sure that Phantom Sand doesn't warp away. There's another slightly easier strat that you can do that just involves 3 stab instead of a stab and 2 quick spins. But that is a foresight. Most people at a top level just choose to do spin attacks. The spin attacking in Twilight Princess is kind of weird. You have to like spin the control stick around like almost 2 times, honestly, just to for it to register that you've spun it around enough, which can definitely mess with your quick spins sometimes, and is why some people might opt to do the stabs instead of quick spins for the strat here. Nice. The Shadow Vermin blocking the soul. And these runners, Kejsmaster only has 4 hearts. Case has 5. Normally you would have 6 here if you pick up both the Lake Bed and Arbiter's heart container. It is slightly faster to skip them, but definitely riskier just because in Palace there are just so many enemies all over the place that just chip away at your health, and they just kind of pile them onto you for no reason. And so you can just kind of like take a ton of damage really fast and possibly die. Also, the world record is 254.11 by Demon. Yeah, I didn't even need to get like that hurt. Yeah, so a lot of runners at a top level will just skip the heart containers just because it just loses time, and once you get good enough, you don't really need the extra health. You do always have to get the one after City though, because of the trick that you do right afterwards with the jump slash and the iron boots to not have to swim out of the water. You lose 2 hearts doing that, so and because you void out once during the fight, you would only have 2 hearts, so you have to get the heart container. You could also opt to just get a heart during the fight, but I believe that's slower. It's just better and easier to just get the heart in. So we'll be seeing some LJs in this room, just small time savers. Each one only saves about like a second or so. Yeah, just saves a little bit of time. And we can also do a little trick there where we spin attack and then immediately jump at the platform that lit up, and that just saves a little bit of time because it's already lit by the time we come back.
Here we see another LJ to just skip the end of the platform ride. Since there's not really any voids in Palace outside of the main first room, most of these LJs have to be all done with out of bounds. So target 2 pieces on the wall, and then the Gale travels out of bounds, going from one target to another.
And sometimes you can get really unlucky, go out of bounds. It was just a bit of time to fail, but generally it will go out of bounds. So, and I guess
I'll skip this platform ride too, but I don't think Case does it.
Yeah, I think it is possible, but it's much more difficult in SD because of
Sword collision here.
Yeah, sword.
The recoil walls.
And really the problem, a problem is like if the boomerang doesn't go out of bounds, you can't really do anything about that, and you would just fail the LJA because if you try to like use the item wheel to buffer to make sure, then it's not faster at that point.
Yeah.
Because it only saves like a second. Oh, that's
unfortunately messing up. Just trying to go for a trick there called Mofall, where you can actually kill the Xan heads before they disappear after getting the boss complete. Turn into wolf, so now he'll have to wait for the attack. Actually, I have to be careful here because I think the Karax do half a heart, so he's probably okay at one hit. But yeah, just being safe goes back to the heart.
Yeah,
probably a good idea.
I think it's 3 seconds faster to get the boss key after going over to the side platform with the one Xant head, but I personally like to get it before because I really don't like dealing with the Xant heads shooting at me while I'm trying to claw shot.
Yeah, if you're not fast, they'll knock you out of the air on your way down. It can be annoying. And in this room, Case is actually going to do a trick called early platform. Actually talks to Minna there very briefly and then puts her away, which freezes the platforms temporarily, which makes this cycle just a little bit easier to get. But it doesn't freeze the drop timer for the Shadow Beast, so you can get to the platform sooner without it being in the position it would have been if you did the platform. So just makes this trick very easier. Yeah,
there's some LJs you can do. I guess usually you would either opt to do the LJs here or call Midna. But you can also sort of just like combine the two and make it much easier to get to the platform on the cycle.
Yeah, so you got it pretty comfortably there.
Yeah, it loses about 15 seconds if you don't make it.
And then another alternate here to skip the platform run.
Yep, one last one. And in this room here, a bunch of shadow beasts will like fall from the sky, and the timing is always the same, so we can just kind of like, because we know when and where they will spawn, we can just kind of go around and hit them as they're falling down, which saves a little bit of time, not only because we don't have to like wait for them to come down, but also when you hit them with a spin attack, it like there's like a lag frames, I guess, like showing like hit stun, I guess. Yep. And hitting them all at the same time just saves a little bit of time rather than hitting them individually. So now we have the Zant fight, which is really, really, really cool in my opinion. One of the coolest fights in all of Zelda. There are 6 phases, and we have some pretty interesting strats for the fight, if you want to talk about that at all, Samir.
Sure, yeah, so Zant here, for all the phases, really only cares about the last hit of a sword combo. Technically you can beat him without doing the last hits, but they deal kind of the most amount of damage. Sorry, excuse me. So the goal for each of the phases is really just going to be to deal the 4-hit combo as fast as possible. So as you're seeing there, as he hits Zant with the boomerang while he's coming down, he's already doing the combo because he wants to hit him with the last hit as soon as he hits the ground. And on this phase, you can actually throw the boomerang right when it starts to make him spawn elsewhere. And then if you can get the timing on the slashes here right, you can actually, yeah, looks like Case didn't quite get it, but you can actually skip this part of the phase and go straight to the next phase. It is a pretty tough trick though, I think it's 2 frames. And then on this phase is why we get the, another reason why we get the bomb bag with the water bombs in it, because we have to be able to kill Zant here without the Zora armor, so we need to refill the air. Yeah, so for the first part of the phase, it's just waiting for the head to come up and then pull them out through the 4 hits and then refill your air. And then for the second part of the phase, the heads all spawn, but he only shows up in one of them. And the secret to figuring out which one he's going to be in is actually after the heads rise a certain amount, the game checks where you are and then picks the head the furthest away from you. So what you can do is, once you know where that checkpoint is, you can just wait and then swim over to the head that's the farthest away from you, and you'll always be at the head where the Zant is. And then you just grab him again, and then there you see Audio refilling air some more. Yeah. And then on the next phase is the ink phase. You can actually predict his path because it's always the same. So you can hit him down, deal some damage. And then with the Palm Chain, which you'll see here in a minute, it's actually faster since you have to wait anyway to get the Palm Chain swinging against the pillar. And then as soon as he spawns, he will actually just immediately get knocked down when the Palm Chain's hit. Here we have the Bozetta phase, which this is actually the only reason in the whole run that we actually have to get the Ball Chain, because you have no other way of dealing damage here other than the Ball Chain. And yeah, basically just as soon as he drops, you can throw the Ball Chain and hit him. And then again, the four combos. And then wait again for this, but coming up is the last phase. And on the last phase, we actually only want to have the 4th combo hit for the first 2 rounds, which will immediately throw him into his sort of spin phase, which is like his final part of his final phase, and then from there just do another 4-hit combo and he's gone. So it's designed in a way so right here only the 4th one hits, and then only the 4th one hits, and now he's immediately goes to a spin phase. You stun him, wait for him to finish spinning, and then hit him with the fourth combo, and he's dead. Very good fight.
So very, very, very nice fight from Kejsmaster. Really, the only mistake was not getting
The one cycle.
the one cycle on the Goron Mines phase. Everything else was perfect, as far as I could tell. So, I guess coming up on the end of the run, Kejsmaster definitely still on pace for sub 3. This is looking like it's going to be a pretty good run, in general at least. Of course, this is anywhere near on par with his PB, but
Yeah, really good for a race run so far.
really good for a race. Actually, I don't remember. Did Case win WolfDash last time? WolfDash won?
I don't remember. You may have. Oh, you got second.
Second? You know, I was gonna say that'd be pretty interesting if he was able to win both. Yeah, Demon won. Yeah, unfortunately, Demon is not competing in this WolfDash. But if he was, he would definitely be doing very well. Demon is a very good Zelda speedrunner in general. Yeah. World record in multiple games. And definitely done an incredible job at optimizing each and every one of them. So here's the Squidman cutscene, one of the longest cutscenes in the game. I believe it's just straight 2 minutes, just about, with no text, so you just kind of sit there and wait. This is the bathroom break for most runners, so I guess if you're watching and you have to go to the bathroom, this is the time.
I always do mine during City.
You take yours during Argarok?
Yeah, I can never make it to a squid now.
Yeah, Morpheal's also a good one. Morpheal dying is I believe it's a minute 20. Well, actually no. I think that's with the midnight text as well. So I'm not sure. You'd probably just barely have enough time, but Squidna Zelda Jerk is when Midna like puts on all of the fused shadow pieces and like turns into monster, a bunch of legs, arm, leg things, whatever they are.
The bathroom break point Trinity.
Yeah. And right here, Case is gonna do the pull out a bomb and do nothing strat.
The best strat.
And then all the goblins. Yeah, no, dude, what you really gotta do is the trifecta of tricks, and then the bathroom trifecta. And then that's like the ultimate run.
here Case was going to fight the last King Bobbin. Actually getting the fast fight trigger, which was pretty nice. I've seen that a couple times.
Very good fight. Definitely makes up for the other King Baldwin fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight can be kind of tricky sometimes. I've had like situations where, for whatever reason, like the jump attack just completely misses, and it just loses time. But that was very good. I wonder if he's gonna try for the meme backflip.
Yep, looks like he's gonna go for it. And he got it.
Yes. Nice. So yeah, I believe that saves 3 seconds. If you get the save warp there, you have 1 frame where you can get out of the trigger where Midna talks to you. You can just save warp. And actually, a little tidbit of information. Most of the time, in pretty much every other location except Hyrule, Hyrule Castle, you want to open the right door first. Or you want to open the right door, not the left door. Because the animation is shorter when leaving. But in Hyrule Castle, that doesn't apply. Both doors are the same. Also, just to be clear, yeah, the estimate says 3:30, but neither of these runners are going to get anywhere near that. They will both finish the game much faster.
So here Case is going to do a little strat where you can actually hit the dark net a couple times and then use the ball and chain to finish him off, which saves a little bit of time. And normally you have to hit him, I think it's like 8 times, 9 times or something like that. But with the ball and chain you'll able to hit him 3 or 4. And it's just very slightly faster. Here, Case luring the Dynalphos over, and then letting the bomb explode and kill them both.
Yes, the GameCube route is faster than the HD route by about 30 minutes, because HD does not have 3 of the tricks that are in SD that allow everything that we do to be possible. So HD does not have early master, it does not have back in time, and it does not have map glitch. So not having back in time means we can't get the iron boots early, not having master sword means we can't transform and warp early, just all those things, everything like that. You know, because we don't have map glitch, we have to get the fishing rod, yeah, there's not much we can do about those.
where we get to see all the people that we did not meet in this run.
Yeah. Nice bonk. In the, what would you call it? Energy fence.
Yeah.
Something like that.
The barrier.
Yeah, the barrier.
So we get to see one final skip here, climbing the castle. You can actually skip the last Darknet fight simply with just the claw shots. Kind of a little bit of an oversight here. So this thing is actually targetable, so you can just grab it and then skip the cutscene and get behind the barrier. And
Dude, look, it's barrier skip in Twilight Princess. Whoa!
Yeah, it's about as close as we're gonna get to a barrier skip.
Yeah. Yeah, Twilight Princess had all its big finds in like the first year of its release, and then we've just been stagnant for like how long has it been? This game came out in 2006, like 14 years.
No, but there were some
Barely
big finds in like 2013, 2014. But yeah, there hasn't been really anything huge in quite a while. Like King Bubbling 2 skip was the last big thing.
Yeah, honestly, it's even though we haven't had any big finds with tricks and stuff, Twilight Princess is very, very optimized currently. It could always be better, but for now, it's really, really, really good. Demon holds the world record, and he did a very good job in that run. Yeah. People in general just have definitely gotten much, much, much better at all the tricks. I remember like when, back when people used to just run no save and quit, not because it was the fastest, but because just no one could do pillar clip consistently. But we've definitely come a long way from that. So the fight with Zelda here has some RNG. The best case scenario would be 7 cycle. But she can. The worst that I've gotten is 15, which was terrible. But yeah, hopefully these runners get good luck. How many cycles was that for Case? I wasn't really counting.
I missed it, but based on his time, I think it was 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a 211, which it's not too bad.
Yeah, definitely really good. So here, this fight with Beast Cannon, there's a strat where you can deal a very specific amount of damage with a jump attack, and then 4 individual slashes, and then a 4 slashes, and the last one being with a combo, and that deals like it messes with Beast Cannon in a very specific way that lets us After you do that twice, then he will only make one portal and just spawn out of that, so you don't have to wait for him to like make a bunch, and it saves quite a bit of time. Probably like 30 seconds, something like that. So yeah, he just spawns out of one portal and we can throw him to the ground. And the last hit is just one wolf bee attack.
So the strat for the horseback Ganon fight is, you're actually going to see Case like get up close to Ganon to make him swing at him, and then once Ganon swings and misses at you, or swings at you and then misses, then you can he'll turn around, and then at that point Zelda will prep her arrow for you to shoot him.
I don't know what just happened with Ace there, but that was really, really weird. He, like, claw-shotted.
Didn't land. Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah. I have never seen that before. That's really weird. But anyways,
so you can actually control where Zelda shoots her arrow with your control stick, but it only helps to a certain extent if Ganon like jukes and turns left really hard right when Zelda fires her arrow. You're pretty much gonna miss every time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what's happening right now.
And there are multiple strats that you can do.
At the beginning.
To manipulate like where Ganondorf goes.
Yep. Yeah. Different runners pick different strats. I don't do the one that Case just did.
Yeah. Do you do the one where you dash forward twice and then hold right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, really good run from Case for a race, especially considering he didn't get Gorge Void, which wasted a minute. Yeah, had it not been for that horseback, it would have been a 257, which is kind of nuts.
Oh no, Case is advancing the tech. So on the German, you actually the game doesn't like force you to advance through those text boxes, so you can just kind of like leave it up during the fight, and it only works on the German version, but it's kind of weird. Looks kind of funny.
So stream's a little bit behind, but Case is done now with a 258.12. Very good one.
Yeah, which is, of course, not his, not too close to his personal best, but definitely really solid for a race. I would usually expect in a race for someone to lose around maybe 6 minutes to their PB, something like that. So only losing about 3 is just really solid. Shows just how consistent players can get at such a high level.
Looks like Ace is on pace for a 305 or 306 here, so should be done just a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll be seeing some similar stuff. The same barrier skip there. And hopefully he will get good luck on good Zelda RNG. That would be very nice.
We didn't really talk about it that much, but Zelda here has three attacks. One is the electric ball, which you need to actually do damage to her.
Oh.
Ace is trying for the crash. Nice. I think it's gone, Ace. Nice try. I didn't even see the text come up. That was weird.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, so Zelda has three attacks here. One is the electric ball, which you have to reflect back at her to deal damage. Another is the Triforce attack. And then the third one is just a dash. Ideally, you don't want to see the Triforce attack at all, because it is the slowest. With the dash, you can actually guard it and get her to get back up into her, I guess you can call it her idle animation. So ideally, you want to get only electric balls and dashes. And then the time between each attack is randomized. So you can lose anywhere from like 3 to 8 seconds or something like that. On nice. You can lose a handful of seconds on each of the cycles just based on RNG. And the reason the minimum is 7 is because the attack pattern goes like electric ball, and then once you reflect it back, you can't get an electric ball on the next one. So at minimum, that's 3. Now, second electric ball, same rule applies. So at minimum, that's going to be 5. But actually, on the second electric ball, after you throw that back, there's a minimum of 3 attacks that can't be the electric ball, so that bumps it up to 7. So the ideal fight would be ball, dash, 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 ball, with minimal flight time in between each of the attacks.
Yeah, I believe the best is like between like 105. It's like around 105 frames in between each attack.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is a little over 3 seconds, I think. This game runs at 30 FPS. I'm not sure who has the best gold, but I believe maybe Case. Someone else might have had a better gold, but Case recently got a ridiculously fast Zelda.
Yeah, it's hard to time on golds because different people time in different spots. Like well, I actually split on fade out versus the ball hit, which is where I think most people split.
Yeah, and well, also Case's gold. Well, what he got? It wasn't in a run. It was during a boss rush. Which AX has been developing recently. I believe AX.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be a new leaderboard sometime soon, once it gets closer to being finished.
Wow, Ace with a really good horseback. That was incredible.
Yeah. Very, very nice last shot. Even with Ganondorf, doing everything in his power to avoid it.
Hmm.
So, looks like this will be a 305. If
yeah.
the final fight goes well, which it should. It's pretty easy. Basically, you just do 3 jump attacks into a quick spin, and for whatever reason, that just knocks down Ganondorf really, really quickly. So that's 1, that's 2, and 3.
Iron boots for swag points. Very
Yep.
nice.
There we go. 305.50. Very, very, very good.
Yeah, very good
Yeah.
performance from both runners.
Yeah, for sure. And once again, while that's not quite up to Ace's usual standards, definitely still a good time for a race. Yeah, GG to both runners. Yeah, I don't know what's next. I don't know if they're gonna hop into commentary.
I can tell you, Cage will not be joining us, and Ace just left the SRL race room before I could ask him if he wanted to come in for an interview.
All right.
So
Okay. So
I guess that's
sounds
it.
like we're done.
okay.
Yeah.
I think it's
Thanks,
late for
thanks
some
watching,
people.
guys. Hope you enjoyed.
Yes. Oh, and thank you very
and-
much, Fino and Burgles, for doing commentary
Yep.
tonight. Very much appreciated. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we
definitely
hope
both go follow both of those guys and
yeah.
them doing Twilight Princess runs all the time. But yeah, I guess bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. See ya.